Happy Thursday to all of you. Happy Thursday. If you're on here, please get those likes up. Get those likes up, tag anybody, or share this with somebody who you think may find it interesting. It's funny. I actually had something else planned today, and then I saw this whole topic trending. So I figured I would hop on the bandwagon and give my perspective. While people are talking about it, and then I'm going to address the other topic later on. So shout out to everybody in the chat, Again, y'all, likes are free, so get those likes up, please. Also, support your favorite content creators. As I said before, I'm going to try to do my best to continue to give you guys good, informative, interesting, entertaining, all that content. But I will need your help and support to keep this going. So again, send love on the Cash App or Venmo. You can find me there, Shay Sade. Also send love on the Super Chat. I will be sure to acknowledge all super chats that come in. And I want to get right into it. I see you have good taste in music. Well, just side note, both of my parents are music professors. So I grew up around a very musical family. Also, one of my sisters she's a professional musician. So needless to say, I do have a soft spot in my heart for the creative. So shout out to you. All right, so I wanted to again talk about this topic. Many of you guys may or maybe you have not heard. Nicki Minaj was trending over the last few days over a conversation she had with Joe Budden, and in it, she touched upon a lot of different points. But primarily, the whole conversation started with her basically reprimanding Black men in particular for talking about Black women and going after their lace fronts and their hair and just talking about them, period. So I want to go over that, just whole discussion and weigh in and give my perspective on what's going on. Because there's a lot to unpack there. So again, y'all get those likes up, show support to this show. Hit the Cash App, or you can find me on Cash App, or you can find me on Venmo. And let's see, we'll keep it going. All right. So I'm going to pull this up. Shout out to Hakeem. He's always showing support. He is always showing support. I do appreciate you. And yes, I agree. Like I said, show love to your favorite content creators. Y'all, this is more work than you think. So I'm going to pull up the conversation she had, and then I'm just going to get right into it. Let's see if I can find it. It's so funny. It's so funny, too, the kinds of things that go viral. Like I said, I'm reminded every single day that we live in a culture of celebrity worship. It just is what it is, but I'm trying to do my best to try to make usage of it. So here the conversation is posted on Instagram, and I'm going to try to play it. Let's see. Okay, y'all also be mindful. She has some colorful languages in here. Y'all know I try to keep this a pretty clean platform, but I think they have everything. Blurt it out.
And start talking about lace fronts. Shut the fuck up. When y'all do that, y'all want to put on a lace front. Don't ever talk about my mother body lace front. Who the talking to? Who like calm down.
Yo, Nick be going off, yo. You can do this Kanye thing, I'm telling you.
What a man said. And so when you get a little bit more, older and you're secure, you do these things for you. Mm-hmm. You get your eyebrows done, or you do your hair, you do your makeup, you put your nice clothes on, and you go to the gym because it's self-care. It's needed for you. You understand? Do I wear certain things and do my hair certain ways for my husband? Of course. It's not about, I'm not talking about people's husband and their significant other. Who the fuck gonna do certain things for their significant other? I'm talking about you, mother. I get on Instagram and start talking about lace fronts. Shut the fuck up. When y'all do that, y'all want to put on a lace front. Don't ever talk about my mother body lace front. Who like calm down.
Yeah, Nick be going off, yo. You can do this Kanye thing, I'm telling you.
What a man said. And so when you get a little bit more, older and you're secure,
let me real quick.
You do these things for you.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to just to touch on that last part. So, I mean, you know, how do I put this? There's so much to unpack there. So, yes, as women, of course, I feel like just human beings, period. Self-care is something that you do for yourself. It's because if you love yourself, have a level of respect for yourself, you should take care of yourself. You should go to the gym. You should have healthy eating habits. Like, yes, that is a just natural part of being a human, right? Is making sure that you are maintaining your physical, mental, spiritual well-being. I understand that. But, one of the primary issues that I have with this whole idea right now of men being shamed in particular for expressing their opinions regarding just women looks or just regarding their preferences in general is because it is not an equal playing field. It is not an equal playing field. So I'm going to play some of her other aspects first, because I think this is gonna kind of give a little bit more understanding, and then I'll move on. Let me see.
Talking about men that feel the need that they can comment on women's bodies and keep saying what we like and what they don't like. Who are you? This ain't about you.
Yeah. Fucking niggas.
And as a matter, and one more thing, I saw somebody put on their blog that, what is the man, Kevin Samuels, says Kevin Samuels rates Nicki Minaj. First of all, Kevin Samuels rated me, Joe, a 9, right? And they put on the blog that they tried to put the little part where me and Kevin was talking about the 7.5 and tried to say Kevin rated me a 7.5. Kevin rated me a 9. But guess what? That 7.5 or that 9. And this is not about Kevin, because he actually was very respectful on the show when I spoke to him. Or you do that. Y'all can take those ratings and shove it up your assholes. Understand? I'm talking about.
Okay, so
feel the need that
so right here, you already know she had a conversation with Kevin Samuels and asked for a rating, and he gave her a pretty favorable rating. And then she go on to say, well, basically, F it. Like, you can, it don't matter. Yeah. So here's the problem. Yeah. The primary issue I have with this entire discussion is that she's essentially saying, women, ladies, take care of yourself, do it for you, pretty much. Like, do it for you. It don't matter how you're being rated. It don't matter how you're being seen. Do it for you. The issue is relationships are symbiotic. And I think the reason we've even this conversation has happened is because for a lot of years, women have been very, very, very vocal and very clear about what they feel like they deserve in relationships.
That 7.5 or that 9.
There is no question. Every man listening to this knows exactly what their expectations are from women. Right? You need to have a good career. You need to have, secure the bag, have good money. Right? You need to basically have success and make sure that you can provide. You can be a provider male. There is never any question about that. It's always very clear. Never, ever any question. But now I think as a result, especially with digital marketing and social media, all that, now that men finally have a part to be like, okay, we accept the terms of this relationship. Can you do this? If you want me to be a provider male, if you want me to be a strong leader, if this is essentially what you're attracted to, okay, fine, this is what I'm attracted to. And then that's when we start to get the pushback. To me, if a woman has made it very clear that she wants a provider male, I do not think it is unrealistic or misogynistic at all for him to be like, okay, I would also like you to maintain the way you look. We can argue back and forth. Oh, well, that's misogynistic. Oh, well, he's only looking at after you for how you look. He's not valuing you for who you are. But at the same time, how is it any different from a woman being like, I don't want to be with a broke guy?
Understand? I'm talking about.
We could argue that that's also being corny. You're not valuing him for who you are. You're valuing him for his wallet or for what he can bring to the table. So it's like, stop the cap. Let's just be honest. Everybody started entering into a relationship. There is some aspect of a fleshly exchange, if you will. However you want to put it. There's some aspect of, okay, we're getting into the relationship first and foremost because there's something that we are attracted to each other outward. Now, that's not to say it can't change. That's not to say that's the only thing that's important and that you should improve upon that and recognize that relationship is so much deeper than those, fleshly or those, superficial things. But don't act like it doesn't exist and it doesn't matter. Because like I said, if you're on here, me being a person, a man judging me based upon the way I look or based upon the way I act.
And this is not about Kevin.
If you have a problem with that, fine. But then you can't have any smoke for what a dude is ranking financially.
I can take those
you just shouldn't.
And shove it up your.
Y'all, if you're on here, get those likes up. Also, shout out to Hakeem. You are always showing love and support anytime you're here, and I do appreciate it. You guys, please support your favorite content creators. Okay.
Who are you? About you.
So, what happened here?
Yeah.
Has this been going the whole time? Oh, so have I really been? I'm so slow right now. I'm so slow. So literally, I was talking the whole time and the video was playing. Y'all, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna do that again. This is gonna be a take 2. Shout out to you, Raymond, for the 2 on the super chat. And can y'all hear me now? Is the video off? Dang, that's crazy. It said they arguing with each other. He said, look at me, I was going off. Y'all was going off. Oh, I love it. That's so funny. Anyway, so okay, I'm gonna have to do a redo, y'all. So anyway, shout out to Ramon. Also, shout out to Hakeem for the 7 on the super chat. My bad. Dang. So I'm gonna have to do part 2. Again, first of all, support your favorite content creators. Hit some love on the super chat, y'all. I'll be sure to acknowledge all super chats. Also, you can show me some love on the Cash App or Venmo. So what I was saying was, now that the video is not playing, I'm not arguing with I'm not arguing with her. I was basically saying that the whole problem I have with this conversation is that the reason that a lot of dudes even started with all of this, the reason they even, I think, started vocalizing more is because it's for a very long time, women have been completely vocal and very open about what they expect in relationships. No man under the sound of my voice has any question as to what women are generally looking for, right? As far as wanting a provider male, wanting a man that's making some good money, wanting a male that is, bringing home the bacon, if you will. I don't want no scrub. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just think about the different things we've heard growing up. We've grown up as women. So it's like there is no lack of understanding or no confusion about what women generally want from men. Everybody knows that. Ain't no question. And most men are just like, okay, I accept the terms of the condition. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to try to, do the best that I can career-wise. I'm going to try to, secure myself financially. Like most dudes, they don't have no issues with that. They're like, yeah, that's just what it is to be a man. But now that we're in the space, in the era of social media, in the era of digital marketing, where now men can go and be like, okay, we accept that's what you like. Now, here's what we like. If you want me to be a provider male, you want me to bring home all this money, you want me to do whatever, can you at least just try to be in shape? Or can you at least try to wear your natural hair? To me, I don't see anything wrong with that. And here's the reason why. We cannot argue and say, oh, that's misogynistic. He shouldn't be looking at me for how I look. He should be looking at me for who I am. I've heard that kind of BS before too. And the reason I think it's BS is because at the same time, those are the same women who will be like, I don't want a broke man. I don't want a man that's working this. He needs to be doing this. Or they won't say it directly, but they'll kind of skirt around it. So it's like, if you have expectations that are arguably fleshly or superficial, because listen, being like, I'm not going to date a dude that's not making this amount of money. I'm not going to date a dude that's not in these kinds of careers. That is superficial. It don't matter how you spin it. So if you're going to lead with that, or if you're going to have that superficial expectation, I don't see anything wrong with a man being like, okay, that's fine. I'll bring this to the table. Can you at least just wear your natural hair, please? And that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of the things that we are seeing right now is a response. It's like a response to what has been happening for years, for decades. Like I said, women can go on and make it very clear what they want, make it clear that they are not going to settle for any old kind of dude. They ain't going to settle for a broke dusty. Everybody knows that. Like I said, this is not a new conversation. They've been saying that for years. But now that men are just like, actually, we don't care about women's career. We don't care about her education. And education doesn't substitute for a woman being, unhealthy or out of shape. Having a great career doesn't substitute for a woman not looking her best. Like that's what men are thinking. And so now that they're vocalizing it, I think we're used to hearing it. And like I said, it's one thing if women are going to be like, you know what? I don't want to be judged superficially. I want to be judged for the content of my character and who I am. if we really want to do that, I'm okay with it. But then I think we also need to now be a little bit more open. We need to be more ingratiating of men in their pocketbook. That's just my perspective. That's just my perspective. So shout out to Mr. Bobby Wright with the 5 on the super chat. I see. So black men don't lead, but they get mad at our standards. The hypocrisy. Nah, like I just honestly, I don't think we are not a generation of women that is used to hearing standards. We're not used to hearing the perspective of men, open, honest, raw. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if we really want to get past the superficial mating and it be more about the character and the different things like that, fine, but it needs to be consistent. You cannot judge a man superficially based upon what he's making, or maybe because he's not a certain height, or because he can't grow a full beard, or whatever it may be. You cannot be superficial like that, but then want him to just look past who you are physically and see how kind of a heart you have. Like, that's not consistent. That's not consistent. Shout out to Clemente Calloway for the 5 on the super chat. I appreciate it. I really do. Also want to show a shout out. This came through late last night for Amal Bay for the 10 on the Cash App. I appreciate y'all. Again, show support to your favorite content creators. You can find me on Cash App or Venmo, Shay Shirley. You can also send in super chats, and I will be sure to acknowledge all super chats. So that's what I'm saying, y'all. Like, we just got to be consistent. If we want to have less superficial standards, it needs to be across the board. We don't want women to be judged by how they look. Fine. We also don't need to be judging dudes and calling them broke dusties and literally shaming men who don't have certain money or don't have whatever, and then be upset now when those men now return it. Because we live in an equal society. If that's what we're pushing for, then it's like, these are the kinds of things that are a result of equality. If you want equality, then you got to be willing to suffer the consequences. Now, if we really want to go back to chivalry and there's certain things you shouldn't do and treat a woman this way, that way, then we can talk. I'm cool with that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I do think the double standards are not helpful. Now, granted, I don't like seeing anybody be disrespectful. Like, I don't like seeing black women being shamed or disrespected. I don't like seeing black men being shamed or disrespected. So there are people online who are just crazy and who just do crazy things. So I'm not trying to make excuses for them. I'm trying to make excuses for those men out there who really are just mentally unwell, socially awkward. You could tell they never really knew how to engage with people in real life, and they turned to social media to vent their anger. I'm not talking about those dudes. And I'm not talking about the women who are really upset. They don't like their lives, are miserable, and they're going around complaining about everybody. I'm not talking about them. But I'm just saying, you actually being honest with how you feel and who you are, you being honest with what you're attracted to, I don't have no smoke for that. And like I said, this is where we have got to be consistent. If we want to be equal, then let's actually be equal. Women have their expectations about what a man can be making. Okay. Then it's okay for a man to be like, if I'm going to be working this hard, this is, and this is the thing about it. Previous generations knew this. Like, I tell you, I brought on the lady I interviewed a few months ago who just celebrated her 42nd anniversary. I was telling her the other day, having a conversation, and I was like, yeah, you have some women today have a hard time recognizing that their husbands want them to look good. And she's like, really? Like, of course, that's just what you're supposed to do. Like, if he's working hard all the time or whatever, of course you still want to try to maintain yourself. She's like, what are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. So it's like older generations understood that there were still little simple things that we did that, yeah, maybe they were superficial, but there are ways to just acknowledge the fact that, like, hey, you're a man, or hey, you're a woman, so I'm going to meet you there. We don't want to overlook that. So anyways, thank you for being here. Let me see. So I'm going to pull this up and continue. Okay, let me, this whole volume situation. Okay.
Take those ratings and shove it up your assholes. Understand? I'm talking about men that feel the need that they can comment on women's bodies and keep saying what we like and what they don't like. Who are you? This ain't about you.
Yeah. Fucking niggas.
And as a matter of, and one more thing, I saw somebody put on their blog that, what is the man, Kevin Samuels says, Kevin Samuels rates Nicki Minaj First of all, Kevin Samuels rated me, Joe, a 9, right? And they put on the blog that they tried to put the little part where me and Kevin was talking about the 7.5 and tried to say Kevin rated me a 7.5. Kevin rated me a 9. But guess what? That 7.5 or that 9. And this is not about Kevin because he actually was very respectful on the show when I spoke to him. Or you do that. Y'all can take those ratings and shove it up your asshole. Like, I don't ever want.
Okay, also, real quick, y'all, shout out to Sherrick in the building. What up, Sherrick? Real quick, y'all. Also, let's not act like let's just keep it real. Let's not act like women don't want that validation in those comments. I think partially the reason that we now live in a situation where, you know, whether it's men feel more comfortable commenting about a woman's looks or they are, is because women generally like it. Women 8, 9s, and 10s, if you will, are attractive woman online. They enjoy having those dudes in the comments simping after them. A lot of them enjoy that. So let's not act like the nature of women getting comments is an insult. It's the kind of comments. A lot of women, I think, just want attention. And this is how this whole thing even got started. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, me personally, I do think there should be a level of respect for one another. And I think there's a deeper issue with of just not having respect, period, really being a strong foundation in the Black community. I just think there's just a general lack of disrespect we see from so many different angles. But like, this is where I think it can be a little bit inconsistent, is because generally women do, if they don't like it, they at the least appreciate it. And this only becomes an issue if maybe what you're hearing you don't like. And I do think, yeah, sometimes people are offering their like unsolicited comments. It's like, you didn't need to do that. But also, if you're on a public platform and you're putting like 40 hashtags to be found, then like, what are you expecting? So I don't know. I mean, it gets complicated, y'all. If you're on here, get those likes up, y'all. Get those likes up. Likes are free. Likes are free. Okay, let's see. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to her next comment.
About Black women because you mad because some Black girl broke your ugly ass, like the podcast clown. The podcast clown. I wish to try that with me, bitch. I wish to would.
They wouldn't have tried it with you, and you wouldn't have been there.
Never.
Yeah.
But we ain't been gonna get at no light. But my point is, you speak about these things in the privacy of your home with your woman. It's not. This is not embarrassed Black woman season. That's not what like. I don't ever want a man to come back on this and talk about some fucking place. Who the fuck you think y'all talking to? That's a conversation you have for your woman behind closed doors. Y'all feel like y'all can constantly disrespect Black women? Get the out of here.
I love this.
And to the men that get on and laugh about Black women because you mad because some Black girl broke your ugly ass, like the podcast clown. The podcast clown. I wish to try that with me, bitch. I wish to would.
They wouldn't have tried it with you, and you wouldn't have been there.
Never.
Yeah.
But we ain't been gonna get at no light. But my point is, you speak about these things in the privacy of your home with your woman. It's not. This is not embarrassed Black woman season. That's not what
Okay, y'all. So she said this is not embarrassed Black woman season. And this goes back to my earlier point. I do think there's just a general level of disrespect that we have in our culture, period, if I'm just being honest. So it's like, I do agree. It's like, yeah, I don't think there's levels and there's nuance to this. But here is the thing. This is where it gets complicated. It's like, if we want to say, okay, men shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be acting like this, they shouldn't be saying these certain things. Okay. We also have to hold ourselves to the same standards. And unfortunately, women are so quick to drag a dude for being dusty and broke and not making enough money. We are so quick to drag dudes, and nobody have smoke for that. And even dudes usually don't even clap back. If they see a dude that's like broke, or he seems like he's not really working that hard, they don't have no issues. They're not going over there trying to cape for him or trying to, you know what I mean, trying to be like, oh, why are you disrespecting him? It's like, if he looked like he looked like he's not working or he's lazy, they're not usually going to make excuses for that. So I don't really see dudes going to be like, oh man, he called him, bro. I can't believe why you're doing that. They're just like, okay, it's whatever. But now if there's a woman who whatever, and she's getting comments, again, I'm not saying that that's right. I'm not saying that anybody has a right to treat anybody disrespectful. But I think the issue is like, this has become a part of the culture. It's sad. And like I said, I feel like a lot of men right now are more reacting than anything, reacting to it being a culture for a very long time where women could openly express certain things. I mean, I think back to the fact that, a few years ago, the very fact that you had all these women, I think it was on The View or basically primetime television, laughing when a woman dismembered essentially or castrated her husband who had an affair, laughing about that. Laughing, like, and no pushback. So we already know if it was the other way around and there was a group of men on there laughing about the fact that a woman who had an affair, she had gotten, God forbid, her breast removed, her husband had cut off her breast. That no way that would have gotten any support. No way that would not have been a big deal. And we've kind of seen things like that. So I think the issue is that it is not on an equal playing field. And because we're supposedly in a society where people want equality and women have made it clear, hey, we want to be treated equal. Now, when that comes, when the reality of that actually what that means starts to happen, that's where it gets complicated. And for some reason, I think there's a lot of women who believe that men are attracted to the same thing, that men are attracted to the same thing that women are, and they're just not. They're just not. Like, like I said, a man isn't sitting down and being like, oh wow, man, look at her degree, or man, like she's a really really hard worker, like that turns me on, or man, like she got a master's, woo, like dudes aren't really like, that's okay, like they're not against that per se, but it's more like, okay, you got a master's, you didn't get a master's, okay, you have a great career or not, like how do you look in a dress, like are you nice, can we talk, like are you cooperative, can we work together, like and I think for whatever reason, because women, we generally have, like, we're generally attracted to leaders, men who can provide, we're attracted to men who are accomplished. Generally, women are attracted to men who are accomplished. Again, if we're just talking about the superficial stuff, of course there's other aspects to it, but just based upon superficiality, men, or women like men who are accomplished. And so a lot of women going around thinking they're competing with men, thinking, okay, if I get accomplishments, then I'm going to be treated the same way. And you're not. And so I think that's where this whole idea of equality, there's all these reminders all the time that no matter how much we want to pretend that we can be equal or act equal, we can't. Because anytime these kind of situations happen, where I think essentially men meet women with what's been given, or vice versa, then you see the imbalance. Y'all, if you're on here, yes, let's get over 100 likes. Likes are free. Also, please, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, there would never be any situation where a woman was being mutilated and that will be celebrated and laughed about. There's not one situation that would ever happen. And and I'm going to talk about this. I know I'm going to not be I'm going to be on many people's hate list for this. But I've already alluded to this fact that interpersonal violence, by and large, women are the initiators. Across the board, across ethnic groups, women are the initiators of more violence in interpersonal relationships. And I think situations like that, where we see the way that our society addresses certain things, I think are reasons for it. If there are situations where a man being mutilated can be celebrated, but that doesn't exist for women, it does create an imbalance. And again, I'm not saying that he was right to have an affair, but what I am saying is that if the roles are reversed, like I said, there is not any situation where a woman could be mutilated or basically, that her mutilation or her being abused in any certain way would be celebrated. But if it's women, sometimes it's like, oh, maybe he deserved it. And like I said, those conversations are a reminder that, okay, we're not equal. We're not being treated equal. And do we really, really want equality? Because if we really, 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 really want equality all across the board, then that comes with a certain degree of responsibility. And I think that's where we start to see the pushback. That's when you start to see the pushback. So anyways, y'all, support your favorite content creators. Hit the Cash App. You can find me on Venmo or Cash App Shay Sade, or hit the super chats. Y'all, also likes are free, but please support your favorite content creators. I do my best to try to bring you guys good content, and I do depend upon you guys to keep this engine running. So let me. You said what up, Jojo? Okay, so let me finish this. Okay.
That's not what the.
Okay.
I don't ever want. They're black men. I love you. I love you. I love you. They're black men. I appreciate you. They're black men. You are needed and wanted. And they're black men. You are the only men on this planet that, as little boys, you don't get to be nurtured and treated like a child, like a baby, like someone's thing that needs to be loved and hugged and kissed and told that we love you. So I will never be on that side of the room about bashing black men. I'm never going to be on that side of the room. Because, and even in relationships, sometimes I think women forget that they're black men. I love you. I love you. I love you. They're black men.
So, now she's appealing to the humanity of black men. Some may take this seriously and be like, oh, this is a nice gesture. I really, she's being genuine. And then some may just think that she's just trying to cover herself. Who knows? But either way, I do agree with what she said, where honestly, men and women, going back to what I said earlier, men and women are just treated differently. Men are generally, just when it comes to expressing themselves in certain ways, there's just certain expectations that they have. And there's certain allowances that they are not given that women are given. So I totally and completely agree with that. So let me pull the second part up.
I'm going to be on that side of the room. I think women forget that the man just wants to be like, and you know what, Joe? It made me realize when I had my son, sometimes the way I treat my son, right? It's like I realize how much love and affection and constant, adoration I show to my son. And sometimes that's what the man wants. And because a lot of times, especially black men, they're not allowed to even show their emotions, even when they're young, and get told like, oh, you got to man up and you got to this, you got that, and you got to be the man of the house before you even, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times the man needs to be treated like that, ladies. You know how we nurture our sons and our children, and we just adore them and kiss on them, and they want that. They need that too. So I want to just make sure I let black men know for the rest of their lives, I'm not one of those. I love you, and I think women forget.
So a couple of things there. I think that the interesting part about this whole snippet was that she started basically by saying, like, listen, you don't need to be going after black women for their looks, and you do not need to be, nobody needs to be talking to any woman about her lace front, her hair, none of that. That's none of your business. Ladies, do that for you. She started the conversation by saying that. Now, the interesting thing about it is she says that, and then she says, oh, black men are not, or just men in general, are not given the opportunity to express how they feel, to express their emotions. And I think the problem is with that framing is that when we are now talking about the context of relationships and talking about what men actually generally want in a romantic relationship, they're telling us what they want. To me, a man saying, listen, I would much prefer your natural hair than that fake stuff you buy at the store. A man expressing that, if you express that, and then now you're bashing this is why I think sometimes dudes are just like, well, we don't want to share how we feel. Because you tell us in one instance, why aren't we expressing our feelings? Why aren't we expressing who we are? And then when we do it, we get bashed for it. So which is it? And that's where I think it can get really tricky. Now, bashing to me would be like, you know, you're like, or if you're hating on Black women, that's like, okay, you're comparing her to, I don't know, a Chinese woman. And you're like, oh, well, you don't even have straight hair like the Chinese woman over there. You know what I mean? Or, man, you don't even have blue eyes like Becky or something like that, where it's like, that's not really innate to who we are as Black women. Like we have certain attributes. And our hair usually isn't straight like that. It's usually more kinky. So like as somebody who's going after like a God-given attribute and comparing you to another ethnic group that's not who they are, I can see that being like, okay, now you're hating. That's hatred. But I think a man in the context of a relationship, if we're talking about what they want, if they're like, hey, we prefer women with natural hair, I don't see that as bashing. I don't. Like I said, I know there are dudes out there who can get weird with it and can say things out of context and be disrespectful. I know that exists. I've been in the receiving end of that. I also know there's women out there who do the exact same thing. I don't think any of them are right. I don't think any of them are doing the right thing. But I also think we have got to make a distinction between somebody calling a spade, you know, being truthful or honest about something, and then bashing. I have been shout out to JoJo. You always are showing some love and support. I really do appreciate you. I see Hakeem. Oh well, what the heck? I might as well. T.I. did say it ain't tricking if you got JoJo always says something that makes me laugh. Y'all, if you're on here, get those likes up, y'all. Hit the super chat to show support. Also hit the Cash App or Venmo. You can find me there. Please show support to your favorite content creators, y'all. Show support to your favorite content creators. If we are adding value to your life, or if we are giving you entertainment, information, whatever, please show support. So, but anyways, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's I think where it can get tricky. It can get tricky because it's like in one instance you want dudes to be open and express how they feel and be who they are, and then the other instance you shame dudes for expressing what they want. So it's like, which is it? And I do think we'll see this thing consistently across the board. Yeah, strengthen. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the comments here. So yeah, so I saw that and I was like, that's interesting. Also another thing too is what she was saying earlier about, you know, a woman doing things for herself, you know what I mean? A woman dressing, wearing her hair for herself, taking care of herself, like dressing according to what she likes and who she is. I don't have any issues with that. I do agree with that. But I do think, again, this is where when you are, if you are a woman looking for a man, period, you want to know what they like, period. You want to know what you like. This goes back to what I was talking about earlier this week, where why more women should be male identified. If you desire to be in a relationship with a man and you want to identify with the man that you're in a relationship with, it is okay to take what he says into consideration. I'm not saying you got to change yourself, but we can't act in one instance. We can't act like we don't care what men think. It don't matter what they say. It don't matter what they desire. And then at the same time, cry about not having options or cry not about getting any play. If you've made it clear by your actions and your words that you don't care what men think, you don't care who they are, or you don't care what their preferences are, then why would they give you the time of day? And so that's where I think we can go a little bit too far when we really push women to just be so independent, do you, boo, do all that. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. You should take care of yourself for yourself, yes. But as heterosexual beings, it's natural for a woman to want to take into consideration what a man likes and vice versa. There's nothing wrong with that. And pretending as if a man, you know, his preferences don't exist or they shouldn't be considered, especially when you're in the dating market. So y'all hit the like button. You're right. Likes are free. Also hit the super chats, y'all. Show support to this show. And we will keep it pushing.
I'm not one of those. I love you.
Okay, yeah. So she said, you know, she loves black men. That was her thing. She's loving black men. She ain't got no smoke for y'all. She just does not want you to express your preferences like that. At least the way I'm seeing it. And that's another thing too, is it like, so is it, if a man expresses his preferences, it's always bashing? Is it like, if he's ever just like, man, I don't like women with fake hair, would that be considered bashing? Or is it, like, is it just if a man is being disrespectful? Like, what are the boundary lines? What are the boundary lines? I think that's where it can get blurred, because I think everybody can agree, if you're just being disrespectful and weird, which we've all seen in the comments, ain't nobody cool with that. But that's different than a man being like, well, I just don't like fake hair. Like, I do not want to mess with a woman that doesn't know how to do her own hair. I find that weird. Is that bashing? Is that bashing Black women, or is that just a preference? Because like I said, in the same token, if a woman's just like, look, I don't want to mess with a broke dude, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm better than that. I'm not going to settle. Like, I'm not settling for a broke dude. Ladies, don't settle. Okay. Level up. Do not settle for these dusties. Like, how many times have we heard that? I've heard that plenty of times. So, but that's not considered bashing. So that's what I'm saying, y'all. It's to say that was just BS. Okay. Y'all hit that like button. Likes are free. Also hit that super chat, y'all. I'm going to have to end this soon if I don't get more support. I love y'all. But it's getting late and I'm hungry and I like to do this, but I also do need some support. So I'm going to have to end this soon if I don't see some more support coming through. But let me keep this playing for now.
Mm-hmm. And then you get to this place where it's like, and then you get to a place and on social media now where it seems like all women are saying, I want money. I want to the fuck. No.
Yo,
I don't feel it. No, it's I love you. That's what it's for. I let Black men know for the rest of their lives. I'm not one of those. I love you, and we need you, and a couple Black idiots don't spoil them a bunch. I'm not gonna categorize all Black men based on the couple dumb ones who every time they get, when they get on, they never, they don't never race, or they want TikTok dissing Black women. I'm not categorizing y'all based on a couple of dumb people. No. Well, because so many of you guys didn't feel loved and nurtured when at the most important time in your lives. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you get to this place where it's like, and then you get to a place and on social media now where it seems like all women are saying, I want money. I want to the fuck. No.
Yo, I don't
feel it. No, it's I love you. That's what it's for. I let Black men know for the rest of their lives. I'm not one of those. I love you, and we need you, and a couple Black idiots don't spoil them a bunch. I'm not gonna categorize all Black men based on the couple dumb ones who every time they get, when they get on, they never, they don't never race, or they want TikTok dissing Black women. I'm not categorizing y'all based on a couple dumb people. No. Well, because so many of you guys didn't feel loved and nurtured when at the most important time in your lives. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you get to this place where it's like, and then you get to a place and on social media now where it seems like all women are saying, I want money. I want to the fuck. No.
Yo, I don't
feel it. No, it's I love you. That's what it's for. I let Black men know for the rest of their lives.
I think that's the last.
I'm not one of those.
Yeah, that's the last one. Okay, so basically, shout out also to Percy with the 10 on the cut. Oh, super chat. I see, hey, beautiful, Shay Sade. As far as weave, I'm neutral. I would just say some women go too far. Excessive tattoos, 2-inch eyelashes, excessive makeup, but I'm neutral. Shout out. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. So, basically, she's like, this isn't all Black women. This isn't all Black men. Like, I'm not going to say that all Black men are doing this. I'm not going to say all Black women are doing this. It's kind of like anything. Like it's the poopies and the ray-rays of the Black community that kind of have all women talking about Black men are trash. Ones who need to find a reason to blame Black men. They're looking at the behavior of a small percentage. So that's basically the point that she's making. But again, I think she says she loves this because of the N-word in a negative way. I don't even listen to her music like that. So I don't know, because the few stuff that I did hear about her, like when I first heard about her, I just wasn't feeling her image. Like, I don't have no judgment against her, but just what she represents, I just was not feeling it. So I'm not really nearly as familiar as to what she actually does. I mean, as far as like her music is concerned, because I just was like not interested. I don't like thought culture. I think it's damaging to the image of Black women, if I'm going to be honest. And I know just even her personal life, there's been a lot of complications related to the men in her life. So I said, I ain't got no hate for her, but I just was never really deep. Like, I wasn't a deep supporter. But there's women who are looking at her as a role model. You know what I mean? They're looking at her as a role model. They're looking at her as somebody that they want to be like, or somebody that they look up to. And you're talking about on that video. I couldn't even. Okay, did she say that? Y'all, did she say the N-word in there? Maybe I missed it, because there were certain parts that were just being bleeped out because she was cussing so much. Like, I was having a hard time getting her whole, because it was like a cuss word every other every other word, and they were trying to bleep it out. So if she said that in there, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So let me see. See how I'm going through these comments. Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out at the end. I was trying to figure out the end of her point. It sounded like she was basically saying, like, don't be disrespectful, but I still love you, Black men. Okay. Couple of things. First of all, I think we put too much pressure on these celebrities to have to try to be teaching folks. It's interesting. I'm always reminded how much of a culture of celebrity worship we live in. And I don't want to say I don't know if this is like a media thing. I don't know if this is just women. Like, if I look at some of the most popular female channels out there, it's all about celebrity gossip. So I don't know exactly what's causing it, but either way, we live in a culture where we put too much expectation on celebrities. So, she's giving relationship advice earlier. She's talking about, dudes, you shouldn't be shaming women. Also, women, you need to nurture your men. You need to treat them like, because they didn't have the capacity as kids for their emotions to be nurtured. So you need to nurture them in a relationship. But at the same time, it's the shaming for men talking about them not liking lace fronts, the shaming them for men talking about how they don't like women with unnatural hair. So it's just, honestly, it was kind of all across the board. And I don't know if just because it was maybe the different snippets, but I will say this, that I think at the end of the day, it's very clear to a lot of people. That as much as we want to sit here and talk about everybody being equal, and we need to be treating people equal, just in the relationship and dating market, it's just not. And I don't think it'll ever be, because you cannot change heterosexuality. At the end of the day, men are just attracted to certain things. Straight heterosexual men are just attracted to certain things, and straight heterosexual women are just attracted to certain things. You can't change the laws of nature. You cannot change the laws of nature. And so if you are as a woman ever going to lead with superficial things and have these basic superficial standards, or standards about monetary expectations, about career expectations, that's okay. I don't have any issues with that. But you have got to be willing to accept your responsibility in that case. You have got to be willing to accept that a man also in that scenario may have a few superficial expectations. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's just common sense. But again, for a long time, we've just heard things from one side. And nobody is saying that just because a man makes a lot of money, just because a woman looks good, doesn't mean that makes a healthy relationship. It doesn't. There's so many different components. That's just you getting in the door. But let's not act like that's not important. And let's not create a culture where we can shame men for strictly expressing what they desire in relationships. To me, men being like, I just prefer a woman that has natural hair. We don't need to see all the extra. Like, I just want to see her natural face. I just want to see her natural body, not with all the shapers and the push-ups and the cold sculpting and the lipo and the butt pads and the breast pad. Like, I just want to see her natural face, her natural body, her natural hair. That's it. It's not complicated. I just want to see what I'm working with truly. The men are expressing that. Generally, I'm like, I don't see a problem with that. And like I said, I think as far as I could concern, as far as what I've seen. I feel like I feel like generally men are a lot more accepting of their role or their expectations without pushback. Whereas women, I don't see there being as much of an understanding of accepting I guess our role in the contract, if you will. Or accepting like, hey, this is just kind of how things are. This is just the laws of nature. I see there being a push against that. I see there being a push of trying to redefine what should be considered healthy, what should be considered attractive. And I'm like, I don't know. Good luck. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. So yeah, you see, I thought the natural hair movement would take off, but yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I want to touch upon that because I think there was also an aspect in there where she was kind of how do you put it? It's almost assuming as if like black women and lace fronts are synonymous, but they're not. And I did a post about that earlier. But I'm like, black women and lace fronts are not synonymous. They're not. I don't have any smoke for somebody that wants to do it. If you want to wear lace fronts, it's whatever. I don't really care. But honestly, I feel like some of the time, some of the reasons we be doing all this extra stuff as women is because we don't really like how we look naturally. We don't like our natural hair, or we don't know how to deal with our natural hair. We think we would look better with it being blonde and straight. Listen, I mean, think about it. In that video, she had what, blonde and some straight hair. That's not how her hair is looking. I'm trying to think of a time where I've ever seen her natural hair, Nicki Minaj. Now, granted, she's a celebrity, so that kind of comes with the territory. But I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think of a time where I've ever seen her in a natural hair or even a weave that would look more Afrocentric or like it grew out of her head. I'm not to say it doesn't exist. I'm not as familiar with her, but most of the pictures I've seen, it's been them long, flowing, colorful weaves. So, yeah. So I do think, to your point, yeah, there is a natural natural hair movement, but we don't really still. I think partially because we don't see that being celebrated, promoted as much among celebrities. Maybe that's why women aren't embracing it. Like if we started to see, I'm trying to think, if we started to see more of like, I don't know, the Cardi B's of the world, the Beyonce's of the world, or I don't know, different people that girls look up to, and they were like really always sporting their natural hair. I wonder if that would make a difference, because I think so many women are looking after these women who are like in the top percentage category as far as wealth and luxury. They're looking at the way they look, they're looking at the way they present themselves, and they want that. They want that lifestyle. And so they'll try to emulate that look. This, I think, goes back into the celebrity culture, focusing on the top percentage of people who are making the most money. So you said in a culture, you said if the culture ain't natural, don't expect natural habits. That's facts. There's a lot about this culture that is not natural. I mean, the very fact there's so many apps out, so many body shaping, face shaping apps out there that just for a woman posting herself on Instagram, she can elongate her nose, change the color of her eyes, make her body look slimmer. Like, even if you just think of the world of Photoshop we live in, where people are photoshopping their bodies and then putting it online as if it's natural. Even videos, now you can even like Photoshop videos and do different things to where you look better in video. So there are so many aspects of our culture that are not natural that I think you hit the nail on the head. Okay, so you see Nikki's natural hair as long as she's worn it out before. Okay, yeah. So like I said, I've not seen it, but yeah, it's very possible. And again, she's in a celebrity class. So I don't expect her to act the way that your average person would, because she's in a whole different arena. But I think also the issue is that because you got so many young girls looking up to her, you got young girls looking up to people like that, trying to make an example of how they should live. And that's a problem. We shouldn't be having celebrities necessarily be the thought leaders in the space, right? When it comes to some of these different issues that impact the Black community. They're entertainers. They're meant to entertain, not necessarily meant to lead in some of these other different areas that impact us. So anyways, those are just my thoughts, y'all. So what does the Bible say about self-hate? It says a lot about self-hate. And a lot of us from the Black community are guilty of that. Are guilty of self-hatred. That's not anything that God wants. But that can be a whole nother stream. That could be a whole nother stream, because I think that's one of the most pervading issues, sins, shortcomings, however you want to put it, that exists in this culture today is just self-hatred. It's just literally not liking yourself, not liking who God created you to be. And I think some of the stuff that we see is a reaction. Like for example, when I think of divestors, I go after the divestor ideology hard, not because I hate those women or I think they're, demons, or like I don't have hate for any large divestor platform, not one of them. But I go after the ideology because I think it's a reaction. I think a lot of them, at the end of the day, at the deepest core, consciously, subconsciously, just do not like themselves. They just don't like who they are. They don't like who God created them to be. They don't like what they look like when they're in the mirror. They'd rather be Miss Ann. They would rather be Becky. If they had the opportunity to change how they looked and to give themselves blonde hair and blue eyes, they would. If they had the opportunity to switch places with a white woman or somebody of a different ethnicity, a lot of them would. And so I think when we see that, some of it is just a reaction to, an environment that's not always so natural for us. He said, yes, I realize that IG models are making themselves appear. Y'all, for real, it is. Shout out also to the 500 super chat. Y'all know it's for real. What you seen on Instagram, yo, that's what I'm saying. Like these new beauty trends too, low key. It's like I be feeling bad. Sometimes I feel bad for dudes because it's like you go in thinking you getting one thing and you get catfished. But literally between the body shapers, filters, you got like face and body changing apps. Okay, you got wigs, weaves, and sandals. You got context. You got butt pads, and you got bob pads. Right. Then you got people going and getting surgery to remove ribs and do different things. Like how you notice that now all of a sudden all these women of different ethnic backgrounds got the same body type. How you got a woman from, I don't know, Russia, Sweden, South Africa, Brazil, and they all got the same exact body type? It's like some ain't like, so people getting work done. They're trying to get a certain look. Certain looks is what's being promoted. It just is what it is, y'all. No one gets criticized more than a broke. Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And that's what I'm saying. Nobody's caping for a broke black man. Nobody is like, oh, like you shouldn't be shaming black. Don't be shaming black men. Like nobody cares. You'll have black men be like, yeah, you are broken dusty. Get off your behind and work. Stop judging the system. Stop saying it's the man's fault. Go woke. So you will have men be like, you need to stop. You're broke. Man up. Figure it out. Get a job. And work hard. Like men will do that. Men will shape themselves. They won't be like, oh, all men are millionaires. You know how women will be like, all women are 10s. Men are going to be like, oh, all men are millionaires. All men are hard workers. All men are entrepreneurs. All men are leaders. Some will be like, no, you are broke. Okay, you are lazy. You need to get up. You need to get a job. You need to put on a suit or do whatever you need to do and stop complaining. So like I said, men will will get on each other, but it's a little different for women. Yeah, like I said, yeah, get over 150 likes, y'all. Likes are free. Likes are free for real. So, anyways, I just wanted to get my perspective, y'all. So white men go get more respect. White men who are broke. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you get into the whole racial component, so that's the thing. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up. Also, y'all, if you're on here, hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App, show support, Cash App or Venmo, or also hit the super chat to show support. Also, likes are free. So please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all the above. But I will say I agree with her that I think there's just generally a level of disrespect in the Black community that I do not agree with. And I think is wrong. Like I wish we didn't have a culture where it was okay for Black women to go in and just openly bash men. Oh, that's another thing that she said too, I thought was interesting, where she was like, you should be saying this stuff behind closed doors, which I agree that there's certain things that I wish wasn't out in Front Street for other ethnic groups to come in and be able to find entertaining as they're watching our drama. But sadly, in the age of social media, digital marketing, where everything is out there, it is what it is. But the issue is, if there was more of a push for understanding of like, hey, we need to respect first of all, we need to respect ourselves. Most people today don't even respect themselves. First of all, they ain't got respect for God. Then they ain't got respect for themselves. Then therefore they ain't gonna have respect for nobody else. So I'm like, until you fix those issues, you're gonna have disrespect on both sides. And that's what I'm saying. The reality is we have a culture where men Black men in particular, you can disrespect them all you want, and ain't nobody got no issues. The very fact that you got, what is it, Divested Zealot, her channel right there, the profile picture of her is with a black man being lynched. Ain't nobody got smoke for that. That channel hasn't been taken down. Speaks to the level of disrespect that we see from men, especially black men. If that was a black woman being lynched, are you kidding me? That channel would be taken down. It'd be no issue. No issue. So that's what I'm saying, y'all. I don't think it's right to shame or bash women. I will never support that. My channel is not for that. Also, I don't think it's right and okay to shame and bash men and just say you're stating your preferences. No, be consistent. Men also should be able to express what they want. If we want to talk about being in relationships and we want to figure out how to do it, then you got to let them express themselves. And you can't say in one instance, oh, men weren't given the capacity to express themselves emotionally, but then also be upset when they actually tell you how they feel. Like there has to be some give and take there. And that's where I think sometimes it can get a little complicated. And like I said, the amount of times I have stated a statistical reality, I mean literally a statistical reality, not trying to even come to any conclusions, just being like, this is what it is. This is what's happening, for example, the interpersonal violence. This is what's happening in the Black community as far as single parents. I state statistical realities, and then now I'm caving for Black men, and I'm a mammy, right? And I'm making excuses for them. It's like, no, you cannot confuse reality and facts and what is with bashing. This is, I think, too, also where we got this culture where people also just don't even really know. I will say this because I think this is especially for us women, where and I don't know if it's because maybe how we were born or raised, but it's like we're in this culture to where maybe we weren't used to discipline, structure. One thing, structure, not wanting structure, feeling like structure can be oppressive or that can be stifling, feeling like structure, authority, whatever, submission can be stifling to who you are, and finding all different ways to try to fight against it. It's in a discipline. It's in a disciplined mindset. It's in a disciplined life. And so because of that lack of discipline, right, that you should be getting from home, you should be learning from your relationship with God. You should be learning from how you interact with your family, whatever. In the absence of that, you got a lot of women who just want to be rebellious, and you got a lot of women who just don't want to accept the truth. So now when something is said that challenges them, that shines a light on their darkness, if you will, they say that you're bashing. And it's like, no, I'm not bashing you. I'm telling you a statistical reality. If you are 300 pounds overweight and you're pre-diabetic, me saying, hey, you're pre-diabetic isn't me bashing you. That's just me stating a reality. You know what I mean? And so I have experienced this myself, and I've been like, hey, this is what's going on. Actually, we're saying it's Vince's fault, but actually we're doing it more. It's just like, oh, you came for these dusties. Well, why are we doing it more? It's like, well, we're doing it more because we're doing it more. Like nobody forced us to go lay down and create all these kids with different dudes. Nobody forced us to do that. That we have to take responsibility for ourselves. So I'm not saying that men got it all right, they're all perfect, but we got to take responsibility for our part. And so I do think, like I said, we live in that culture where women, they just want to be rebellious. They want to be rebellious, and they do not want anything that's going to cause or require them to change, or anything that's going to require them to look in the mirror and say, hey, maybe I was wrong here. Hey, maybe I could improve here. Because to do so seems like hate. And to me, that shows me that's a person that maybe they didn't understand or hasn't learned to understand that true love isn't always making you feel good. It's not always telling you what you want to do. There's times for that, but true love can also be constructive. True love can also be, no, you're unhealthy, stop. Or, oh no, you got a bad attitude, stop. Or, oh no, it's not his problem, it's your problem. You know what I mean? That's also true love. And for whatever reason, sometimes people feel like they just need to be feeling good all the time. That you're just supposed to always feel stuff encouraging, and you aren't supposed to hear constructive stuff. And I'm like, that's not living in truth, y'all. That's not living in truth. Shout out to let me see right here. Shout out to TJ Hannah for the $9.99. I see, thanks for the feed. We're progressing some ways but messing up other ways. The reason we don't hear from other communities, they have language as a protective barrier. That's true. Yeah, some other communities have language. That's true. Some people, the languages. You should at least have some conversations about my mental health. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, y'all. I think ain't nothing wrong just because some don't feel good don't mean it's the truth. I will say that. And if we really do desire relationships with men, healthy relationship with men, then we at least gotta be willing to consider what they say. Now you don't have to accept it. You don't have to accept it. Or you can say, you know what, maybe we have different values, whatever. But you at least gotta be willing to come to the table. And I think you also gotta recognize and accept that we actually generally want different things. So, like I said, men are looking mostly in black men and looking at black women. You're just like, okay, if I'd like to be with a black woman, I'd like to see her with her natural hair. I'd like to see her take care of herself. Period. Just like a black woman who wants a provider black male is gonna be like, I don't want him to be doing this. I want him to be making this. I want him to have this kind of, uh career, whatever it may be. We all have those expectations. And I think it's just adults. A part of being an adult and being fair is acknowledging those things and then figuring out how to work together. Not being mad, not throwing shots and blaming the other person or blaming the other group of people all the time, and then being mad if they do the same thing. That's just being childish, in my humble opinion. But anyways, I do appreciate it, y'all. He says, yeah, they don't care about men's issues till it affects them. Literally, I was talking to my husband earlier, and it was like, yeah, there's just certain things that modern women are never going to accept. That may actually be a lie. What are the things that modern women will never accept? I think there's just certain realities that it doesn't matter how many times it's relayed. It doesn't matter how many times men are like, we don't care about this, or we would just want this. This is it. I'm just not going to accept it. Which is why you're going to probably see an increase in certain things and certain behaviors, and certain ideologies. Because at the end of the day, if a woman is just like, I just don't care about what you have to say. I just don't care. I don't want to work with you. They have that right, but then they're going to have to go elsewhere. So anyways, y'all, I do appreciate your support. I was thinking about opening up the call lines, but first of all, let me thank all of you guys who have shown support. I do appreciate you. I do appreciate, however much, ever little or small it may be. If you would like to continue to show support, you can find me on Cash App Urban Moshe Shoday. You can also send in super chats. But yeah, that is my perspective. So I have a few more minutes. If you guys want me to stay on for a few conversations, let me see. Yeah, if you guys want me to stay on for a few more minutes and have a call in, let me know. I will need 4 super chats. If I get 4 more super chats, then I will stay on. If not, then all good. And I will come back later with another topic. So y'all let me know in the comment section how you're feeling. Send in your support if you'd like me to stay on a little bit longer, and then we can open up the call line, or I'll wrap it up. I see like Jacob and Leah. He said black men should just be quiet. He said, I wish black men would just keep them to, yeah, no, and here's the thing. I think if we can mutually agree, okay, we're not going to have black men share their comments anymore. Fine. One, we can't be upset if we get with a man and he doesn't express himself. If we've already made it clear we don't want to hear what they have to say, we cannot be upset if they now go turn around and then they'll express themselves or share themselves emotionally, which all women want. But if we do that, okay, we should also be, as women, be willing to share the same level of respect and say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to go on an open forum or online on public spaces and create a platform that is dedicated to dusty or male bashing. And I think most men would agree with that. I think most men would agree with that. All good, yeah. No, thanks, Hakeem. I always appreciate your support. And like I said, all good. We don't have to stay online. I can wrap this up. So yeah, if I'm not getting any support, then it sounds like the audience has spoken. So I will I'm getting tired and hungry, y'all. Yes, male bashing is trash. Yeah, I don't. Male bashing is trash. Yeah, male bashing, period. Male woman bashing. And here's the thing about it: when people spend a lot of time bashing, to me that shows me that they're not actually focusing on their own issues. Because let's just be honest, I'll just speak for myself. I got a whole lot of stuff God working on with me that I don't even really have the energy to be sitting here trying to bash other people like that. You know, I will say one of the things that I've been learning, I'll say in Al-Anon, I'll say this, one of the things I've been learning in Al-Anon, y'all know I've been doing a 12-step program, is that there's this whole thing about self-accountability, right? And this whole thing of you surrender your life to God, right? As a Christ follower, I surrendered my life to Christ years ago. But you know, part of that is learning what does it mean to surrender yourself to a power higher than himself, higher than who you are, stronger than who you are, right? So that's one step. And there's one step that talks about accountability. And this is where you get really real. This is where you look in the mirror and you start to figure out, okay, where was I responsible for the mess that I created? Because what happens is some of these different situations, people land in programs or whatever. Everybody does it for different reasons. Some people do it because maybe they have a person in their life that's like crazy. They're married to, some people were married to alcoholics. Some people grew up in alcoholic homes. Some people, they just want to learn better. Like everybody comes for different reasons. But it can be really tempting sometimes to want to point fingers and say, hey, you did this wrong. You did this wrong. If you were only this, if you were only that, my life would be better. And one of the first things they teach us is, okay, instead of you focusing all your energies on what that person isn't doing, how about you look in the mirror and say, okay, well, what actions can I take today to try to make myself happier? Because I cannot control people. I can't control places. I cannot control things. You just can't. We can control certain things, but there's so many things that are outside of our control. But I can control how I respond. I can control what I choose to do. I can control what I focus on. And let me tell you, that process alone of me looking in the mirror and just having to acknowledge my stuff, it's just like, I don't even have really the time to sit around and try to think about as much how horrible other people are being. As much, it's like anytime I want to sit and it's like I don't even have time to sit here and be like, oh well, this man isn't doing this or my husband isn't doing that or whatever. It's like, man, because I got so much stuff in my own life I'm learning. So that's what I'm saying. I think people who find pleasure in really, really bashing and shaming people, bashing and shaming men or whatever, to me that's showing that they're not being self-reflective. Because if you're being honest with yourself, best believe there's an area where you can improve. And your energy will be better spent focusing on improving that versus trying to control another person that you'll never be able to control. You said, hey, Shay, would you do another stream in Spanish? Yes, I would love to. Honestly, you know, it's funny you say that. I was trying to bring, I've been talking to my friend. I've been talking to my friend about the one that I brought on. I will read the live stream in español. Pero gracias por todo. Gracias por tu apoyo. Y sí, me gustaría hacer más en español, pero todavía estoy aprendiendo mi español, entonces tengo un poco, como diría, yo tengo un poco de miedo a hacerlo, pero creo que poco a poco yo voy a hacerlo. Gracias. Let me see. This world is possibly ending and black men and black. Shout out to CJ Banks. It says, this world is possibly ending and black men and black women are talking about anything but having healthy relationships with each other. Time to come together and heal the divide. I agree. Shout out to Lead Attorney. ¿Quieres hacer una entrevista en español, Lead Attorney? Déjame saber. Yo me gustaría hacerlo en español. Yeah, so no tengas miedo, just do it. Okay, gracias. Yo tengo un pico de miedo, pero poco a poco. Bueno. Okay. Yeah, so literally, y'all, like I said, if you are just honest with yourself, you ain't got time to be focused on what other people can do. Okay, because there's so many things that you could be working on yourself. Excellent. Also, we got a few other excellent. So I've been learning Spanish. I'm already on Arabic speaker. That's dope. That's so dope. Honestly, I studied Spanish. Yeah, I studied Spanish in college, but I learned it mostly like working, or I practiced it mostly working at a restaurant. That's where I really got my practice in. Then I went to Colombia for a little bit. I was there for some time. Been to Mexico a few times, but like, yeah, you know, it's a thing. So anyways, y'all, I do appreciate y'all hanging out. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, that'd be dope. Another interview in Spanish at goals. I have to put that on my. I gotta put that on my list. Thanks for being here, lead attorney. I've been meaning to check out the latest on the Patreon. It's always a pleasure. Okay, guys. So I got two super chats. I mean, was anybody wanted to call in? I needed two more to call in. If not, I'm going to put the line down, which is fine, and we will continue this. I had actually originally planned to talk about are dating apps racist? I know that sounds like a ridiculous question, but y'all, that is a real thing. I just found this, I guess there's a whole term called sexual racism. Y'all, that's a real thing where I guess it's this idea that your sexual preferences are racist. No, I'm not making this up. There's like literally, this is being studied in academia right now. So, invite me and we'll do one in Spanish. Dude, are you serious? I'm totally down. Should I hit you on email? I'd totally do it. I did my first one in Spanish maybe like a week or maybe like a month or two ago with one of my friends from Colombia. So we did like it was more talking about health, but like I would totally do it. Maybe I'll hit you on Patreon or email. Uno, Hakeem. Hakeem, man, you're always... Okay, Hakeem, are you going to call in? If you call in, Hakeem, because you're such a great supporter. The uno, dos. Gracias. Okay. Dude, okay, let's do this. So I think in honor of Hakeem, I will open up for a little bit. I don't know if you're trying to call in, but I want you to do it if you want to. You should. I've heard him speak with Mexican slang. Literally, so true story. When I started learning, or when I was being taught Spanish from Mexicans, they were like, the guys who were teaching me, because I didn't know, they were like telling me all these new words, and they'd be like, say this, and I'd be like, oh, okay. And they would start laughing, and then come to find out, I would like go in like my class, and I'll start using these words, and they were like all the cuss words. They're all the derogatory words. So, yes. So the Mexican slang is it's a real thing. So we got Mr. Research in the building. I think is calling back. Yeah, definitely call in. Feel free to. Let's see. You say what Nikki do? I love you. You're hecka late. I love that you're so late. Oh man, yeah, you'll have to. Okay, so let's see if you want to add on. Hey, Mr. Research.
How is one of my favorite top 3 male identified ladies? How are you? We in
male identified.
We in male land love our male identified ladies. We protect y'all amongst above all others.
You know what? I take it. I take those insults now as a badge of honor. I really do. Absolutely. Not that you're insulting me, but I'm just saying when I see it come on, I'm like, oh man, this means I'm doing something right. Especially when they're coming from nameless, faceless avatars that were created like the account was created like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, man, I must have really gotten under your skin.
Created a whole 13th account just to come at you.
Literally, I think there's been a few people that I've blocked who have literally created burner accounts under different emails just to be weird. It's kind of creepy, but people nowadays, people in their mental health is not at its best. So,
well, again, I just want to be one of the gentlemen to come say something positive. We do appreciate our ladies. I mean, yes, there are probably 8% of us dudes who do say crazy things, but please don't focus on the 8% of us. Try to focus on the 92% of us.
Yeah, no,
that ain't. Yeah, because even people come to my channel and say, no, Mr. Researcher says something crazy. No, and they'll try to pick one sliver of a sentence.
I'm sorry, because I'm like, everybody, you can always take something out of context. You can always take something, out of context and make it say whatever you want. I mean, I had somebody who did a live stream about me, I think a month or two ago, and took a video I did literally out of context, played like 20 seconds of it, and was just like, this mammy picked me over here telling the Black woman they can't have hope. They're telling them. It's like, no, all I'm doing is just being realistic and saying, you can date and marry whoever you want, but if you got a bad reputation for not even being able to get along with the men in your own community, you probably should work on that. That's not me being disrespectful. That's just an honest assessment, especially when you look at the scientific data. I literally, like I said, I pulled up. You probably heard this. That I think that study where it's like in the era of color blindness, like, oh no, race and relationship, the era of color blindness, where basically white men were like weighing in on how they see black women. It was like a whole blind study and everything.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, if you don't want your feelings to be hurt, don't read that study. If you don't want your feelings to be hurt.
But it's like I said last time on your show, the real argument is with white men. Why are why are white husband numbers not skyrocketing? With all these thousands of videos being put out,
right?
White husbandship should at least be at 25%.
Well, here's the thing about it, which we forget. White men have had access to black women since the beginning of this nation,
right?
And I mean, I don't want to be taboo, but I'm like, if we just look honestly, historically, they've always had access to it. So it's like, if it was really an issue of like, man, we just really, 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 really want these women, but laws are getting in our way. It's like, well, you kind of created the laws. So if you want to change it and make it to where it's not an issue, you can do that. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I'm saying. I've never had any smoke for anybody who's wanted to date or marry out. Some of my best friends are in interracial relationships, black women with white men and vice versa. So it's like, I don't have no smoke about it, but I don't like people spreading the propaganda, and I don't like how we can't have honest conversations about what's going on. That's where I'm like, this is not helping anybody. Also, side note, lead attorney. Okay, what's the title of the video you did in Spanish? I'll send it to you. I only did like one. We actually did one in Spanish and one in English, but I'll send it to you. You can give me your honest feedback. But yeah, I will happily send it to you. I think I have I'm sure I can find your email or Patreon or something. But yeah, so that's my issue. Like I said, I support anybody, man or woman, going where they can get love and respect. But it's just we got to be honest. Like, let's just stop with the propaganda. Let's stop with the BS. And that's where it's coming.
Yeah, but it's like I said to you, the research is very skewed. Sometimes I look at it to where the interracial daters are very polite people. They don't go around waving the flag.
Yeah.
They just go do their thing. You barely know that Brad is a Brad. You be thinking he's Leon, and the lady don't even let you know it's Brad. And some of these guys, when they got a different type of lady, they don't go around waving the flag. But then you got some people in our culture, man, that they just they just got this type of spirit of. Oh, but here's the funny thing, and I'm gonna start with the guys too, because I think the guys can take it on the chin a bit better.
They can.
When white women betray black men, other than Kanye, black men just quietly go off into the night. What was the Robert Griffin is on his fourth white woman. He can't get it right. Reggie Bush is on his seventh white woman. He can't get it right. But they not up here waving the flag. Now, somebody like Kanye is on that powerlessness. Like, you won't let me see my kids. I thought you was a genius, bruh. I'm going to talk about your new boyfriend. Oh, my God. Bruh, are you serious?
I think, he's not... Granted, I've never met him, obviously, but I don't think he's mentally well. So I don't even know that he would, if he should even be part of the conversation. Because you kind of see the way he's acting, and it's just like, I don't think you're all there. Like, if that makes sense. So certain people, it's like, okay, I'm going to have to give you a pass because I don't know that everything is functioning correctly. And I mean that in the most non-judgmental way possible. But like celebrity class, and it seems like ever since his mom, it's just, he's like in a different... Am I making sense? Am I making sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to the person who said Reggie has been married 10 years, but I think that's been with multiple women. That's not the same woman. He's had several women since he left Kim Kardashian. So maybe you're misinterpreting that. Let me also say this, like I said, a positive thing for the ladies. Hey, I want you to go be happy, ladies. So, so I think what needs to happen now, and this has only happened once or twice. I think those divestors need to start reaching out to their white boyfriends and pulling them on. They don't even have to put their face on. Bring those white boyfriends up and ask those white boyfriends, why are we still dating? When am I going to get this ring? Why are we still dating? When am I going to get this ring? And I think that'll be telling. I see a lot of white boyfriends leave these ladies and they never get the ring. And then some of these ladies get married and then they end up coming back to the black community because the white guy done left.
Oh, I have a few. One of my close friends, that was her situation. Her first marriage was with a white gentleman. Her second, she's now married to a black man. But she straight up told me she come to find out her first husband was not. It wasn't like he had prejudices. It's like he was full blown racist. Like he's a part of a group where it's like, no, you're a hate group. And I'm like, how did you marry and have 2 kids and you had zero? Like it never clicked. Like it never clicked. And it was just like that video I did maybe earlier this week where it was the black girl who she was in a committed relationship without a ring, mind you, but she was in a committed relationship with a dude without a ring, got pregnant, and then it come to find out him and his family are racist. And it's like, you were in a long-term committed relationship and had zero idea that this guy was racist. Now you have a kid who's biracial, and he wants nothing to do with you. Like there was no indication. So that's why I don't get it. That's why I'm saying it's like nobody has issues with you dating or marrying out, but I think some of the reasons people do it, it's not for good reasons. It's not for good reasons. And when you find situations like that where it's like, did you have to downplay who you were to be in that relationship? Is that even real love at that point? I mean, I don't know. I'm just putting it out there, but
yeah, absolutely. Let me make this one comment. Dark Power said, I'm laughing at a man who wants to see his kids. So I'm gonna follow Shez's lead as far as not talking about Homeboy that much. But if you are a person who has $500 million, okay, you're supposed to have so many army of lawyers to where this is not a conversation you would take to public spaces and start attacking her new boyfriend, start attacking the mother-in-law's boyfriend. So I hear what you're saying, sir, but iron sharpens iron, Mr. Dark Power. And I'm just saying, this isn't something you take into the public square complaining about when you got $500 million. You're supposed to have at least 32 lawyers solving your problem for you. Shez, am I wrong? You are muted. You are muted.
No, I think, some of the stuff that you make a great point. Like, for example, even if we think of the whole situation with Bill and Melinda Gates and the way they split, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of different drama going on behind the scenes that nobody really knows about. And nobody really knows about it. Like, even when she was interviewed, and they were asking her really, really tough questions where she could have revealed a lot. She was very nuanced, and she was very respectful in how she navigated. Was like, you should talk to him, you should do this. And so generally you're right. When you get to a certain level, a certain class, you're going to know how to navigate situations in a way that you still can maintain, whether it's your image, your brand, whatever. And that's where lawyers, PRs, ideally, but some of these people, just because you have money doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to navigate in that class, because he essentially jumped classes. And it doesn't sound like, I don't know, but like, what I'm understanding, you're born here, now you're here. Have you really learned how to integrate yourself and navigate in all different capacities? I don't know if he's fully gotten that, just basically the way things are acting.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope divestors really get it correct, because really this ain't about bashing nobody. It's about people just really living what they talk. We're in these internet spaces, and I said this I was in an African, we were doing African history earlier today, and I said, what's the problem for Africans and Black Americans? Our children are going to watch these videos when they're 35. Our children are going to hear the back and forth arguing, and we ain't going to be able to say crack cocaine stopped us. We ain't going to be able to say all these other issues because the kids are going to see we're stopping us. We're using the internet to fight each other. Let me give some space to to the H person.
How's it going, Hakeem?
Sure, Sade, how you doing?
Good. So what you got?
Yeah, I just wanted to call in and show support. My audio may not be good, so I won't be on here that long, perhaps. But yeah, just always love listening to your videos and showing support. But other than that, I think we're trending in the right direction. Just because for Nicki Minaj to make a video like that, coming off the outskirts of her video with Kevin Samuels, it means that we're actually trending in the right direction. Because I think the pressure between content creators like yourself, Kevin Samuels, and others, changing the needle in the right direction, making it, that being unhealthy and looking a certain way is no longer going to be a shaming tactic, as far as if Black men just simply have standards. And at the end of the day, the whole seeing things as bashing is just a scare tactic to kind of have us take the foot off the gas or accelerated pedal, so to say. And as long as we keep up the pressure, I think we're doing more. We're moving things in the right direction. And just because, like I said, they're going to do everything they can. They're shaming tactics using sign language, as Kevin Samuels likes to point out. But I think like I said, I keep saying this, but we are moving in the right direction. Just because the people I've come across and those, mentioning some of the different channels, I think we're doing a good job here.
No, I agree. I mean, the fact that we're having a conversation, to your point, I could see what's like, okay, maybe this is good. And at the end of the day, there's gonna be people who are just like, you know what, no deal. I just am not interested. I want to continue believing what I want to believe, and I'd rather, like the video, like the conversation we had yesterday, we were looking at Chrissy. She's like, I would rather, maybe polyamory is the better option, or maybe an open marriage is a better option. I'd rather do that than maybe be in a marriage, So you're going to have those situations, but you're also going to have people, especially hopefully among the younger generation, where they can look at us or previous generations and be like, do I want that? Do I not want that? And then, learn accordingly. But we've got, as women, we have got to get past, we got to get past the idea that, standards for me, but not for thee. Like that's a bad setup, no matter how you put it. Like, so.
Yeah. Very, very, very quickly, to your point, I remember the Chrissy video that I put up on my channel about, and I took it down since then, but it was about Chrissy when she was breaking up with her African boyfriend. And then she was at her apartment complex and saw the older white gentleman, key word here, older white gentleman who was giving her attention. And she couldn't wait to bump into him at the gym again. See, that type of mentality is inconsistent. If you say black man, black man, black man, however you say it, and then here comes a guy that's older, a little bit of gray, according to her. And now, because he's given attention, because he's segueing to you, he's making you the dominant in his flirtation, in his admiration to you. Intellectually, that's not intellectual, because you're saying that this only applies to the type of males who let you win. That's the same problem we have on the man side. You only want the women who bow down on command. No, that shouldn't go either way. And we just have, it's kind of funny in our community, man. When we get on these microphones, we're saying one thing in these dating conversations. I want somebody from the other gender to let me do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not fair.
Yeah, and we just gotta keep putting the pressure on and having videos like this. We don't need the name calling. We don't need to resort to other tactics. Showing them the stats like Sister Sade does, showing them the numbers to back it up, and different content creators continuously doing the work is gonna keep pushing things forward in the way getting the outcome we need to. So we're going to keep getting these shame tactics and the sign language. It's gonna keep coming, and the more escalated and the more fervor that those tactics seem to come, then that means that, like I said, we're doing what we need to do, because again, there's going to be criticism even when you're doing good, and positivity. So just having standards, no longer should Black men be shamed for having standards, as long as you're doing it respectfully. I think as long as if you're approaching someone and giving them compliments, and it's not in a derogatory or a vulgar manner, then there's nothing wrong with that. So,
right, and to your point, I think men having standards, period, because again, this is probably where I become not as popular among women, but I tell them, it's like, again, men generally they're talking to each other. So if you are not willing to abide by the standards of men within your community, they're thinking, okay, well, how are you going to be able to now integrate within mine? And even if there's the thing about it, you don't have to resort to insults. You don't have to resort to shaming. You don't have to resort to name calling, because at the end of the day, the truth and the facts speak for itself. It's like, okay, let's just say I'm wrong. Just, okay, we're all wrong. Every last one of us is wrong. At the end of the day, the person who is deciding to not accept that truth in, every single day, their life reminds them of where they might be living a lie. Every single day. Without me shaming them, without you shaming them, without anything, they're reminded every single day based upon the results that they have or don't have. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't even have to resort to shaming, because I think, honestly, a lot of these detractors who resort to that, they do it because they're living under that reality every single day. They already feel ashamed from their mistakes, or maybe from the things that they've done that they don't like. And instead of embracing and being like, man, I made a mistake, let me improve, the best thing they can do is try to put it on you, And
you notice that you get a flood of them coming to your channel, Chantel Simone's, could be Danica Marie's, it could be Kendra, Sister Kendra. It's especially when other women like all of you guys are putting in the work. It's like, how dare you? You're supposed to be on our side, but that's really not going to be the case, because you're you're living proof of the truth, especially being married as well. While meanwhile, they can cap all they want that this is the outcomes they're getting, that they're doing just fine, but their language, their nonverbal language in between the words that they're trying to say shows what kind of position they're in. And no longer are people, we're not just seeing their words, but we're reading in between the lines that they're not showing what they're trying to show. We see that it's all this cap, and it's all this, I'm doing just fine, but on the inside, they're not happy with themselves. And Absolutely. So they got to project it in other ways.
Absolutely. Hey, Kevin C., thanks for joining. I want to give you a chance to weigh in. Looks like it's a minute or two.
Yeah. Quick. Yeah. Hey, how you guys doing? Everybody's doing all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, brother.
Yeah. Hey, just real quick, I kind of liken you guys a little bit to not quite. Nobody's at Shahrazad Ali level just yet, but you guys are kind of getting there or working towards that. And the reason is that she was doing a lot in the 90s to try to make some corrections, and she was literally the only one. If you remember, I'm a little older, I'm in my 50s, and I didn't really pay attention to it that much, because I'm like, well, what is all the fuss about? I thought we were cool. I thought everything was together. Everything was right. We kind of got in the 80s, and we were kind of transitioning away from the civil rights movement, Black Power, and all this other stuff. Well, not so much getting away from that, but I mean just like the open racism and all this other stuff that everybody was dealing with. And turns out she saw that there was a problem, and she tried to call it out. And here we are years later, a few decades later, really. And she was literally the only one doing it. So, Chantel Simone, you, Danica Marie, and all these other, ladies that are coming out and helping her out, we appreciate that, because it's actually needed. You need a counterbalance to what's going on. And as you were talking about, as it relates to criticism, look, men have been getting criticism our whole life since we were, since what, like 10? Since we could really start understanding it. So we've been getting, kicked around, beat, told all kinds of things that we're not this, not that, not that. So really the only thing you can do is either stay with that criticism and be the nug that you are and be a problem to society, or you're going to improve. That's it. Those are only two things you can do. So, you know, when I talk to young men, I always talk to them about there's really two things you really need to be doing: self-improvement and personal development. Yeah, you know, we all want to get married at some point, family, legacy, and all this other stuff and everything else. But if you focus on self-improvement and personal development, you'll get to, you know, the point where a woman will look at you and go, you know what, that's the guy I need to be my husband. You see what I'm saying? You're doing all those right things. So that you know, I'll pause for a second. I know you gotta want to get something in, but what'd you have to say?
Yeah, no, I totally and completely oops. Sorry, I'm getting
money.
No, shout out to Marco Polo for the 5 on the Cash App. Also, guys, if you like what you're hearing, please support your content creators. Please do. You can find me on Cash App or Venmo, Shay. Also, send in your super chats. I will be sure to acknowledge all super chats. Shout out to CJ Banks. It says, if white men were so into black women, then white men would have the divestment movement on their side. You know, I will say, I agree that it does seem to be a little bit one-sided, sadly. Now, to be fair, I just think men in general, even if you think about the way we interact, if you listen to a conversation of women versus a conversation of men, right? Generally, women, you know, we're going to talk about relationships and really things, our emotions, what's going on with us mentally, you know, like that. Men, they're probably going to be, what are you building? What are you working on? Like, so I think generally speaking, I can't ever think of a group of men that have just been like leading a movement of, oh, here's my wife, you know, because I just think by nature we're different. But this does seem to be really one-sided.
It kind of falls into place for me. Like I said, if you're doing all the stuff you're supposed to do, getting your life in order, your finances, your career, your competence, your intelligence, education, all these other things, hitting all those checkpoints, your health, fitness, and everything else, then women are going to look at you and go, you know what? I really need that guy in my life. That's how that's going to work out. And I'm not saying you should dismiss women, but at the same time, I'll tell young guys, hey, look, about 20% of your time really needs to be focused on other stuff. But most of what you need to be doing is actually working on personal development and getting yourself together. Now, as far as, you know, stuff like Nicki Minaj, and she's coming out saying, I love black men and all this other stuff and everything else. So that's good. That's great. We appreciate that. But it's almost as if women are going, you know what? It's getting rough out here. I'm getting tired. I'm out here on my own doing all of this stuff. And the good guys who really should be, you know, helping us out and bringing this community along and doing things as far as keeping this whole thing together, those guys are just walking away.
Well,
ARC kind of talked about this a little bit. You know, he talked about the beta male revolution and all this other stuff. People kind of get down on men who they refer to as beta male, but I'm like, look, we kind of need those guys.
Read that book.
Yeah, we need those guys too. We need the alpha males, the ones who are the leaders, and then we also need the beta males to kind of fill in the gaps and all the other stuff, because those guys help too. You know, we need all of our good guys. But when those guys start walking away, it is a problem for women. And then we're getting to the point where dudes are like, I'm not trying to help you do anything. You're in trouble. You have a problem. You have this. You have that going on. Man, I'm telling you, if you're a woman out here and you're on your own, it is a problem for you out here in the world. It is rough.
You know, and I will say too, I was also thinking, okay, really quick, and then I don't know if that was Hakeem or Chaos.
Go ahead.
Okay, and I also want to make sure Chaos Brain has a chance to speak, but I will say it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how things progress or digress as the economy changes. You know, we're entering a wartime economy if we're not already there. And things are going to get rough. and I'm wondering, like, how are the strong, the independent, the whatever, all the different boss up, boss babe ideologies, how is that going to fare in a wartime economy when a lot of those different jobs, you know, those small businesses, those solopreneurships, whatever it may be, it's going to be rough by yourself. How is that going to work, especially for, you know, for modern women? I don't know. I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about, like, be curious for me to see the way the trend goes, if things change at all, or if we're just going to see the same messaging. It's going to be even more and more aggressive as women are faced with the reality of, you know, inflation, maybe even being higher, just the cost of everything. So I don't know. Those are just my thoughts, but
Let me just take 30 quick seconds. Most of my predictions come true. I predicted this Bitcoin thing. Now the Bitcoin and crypto's getting taxed. People are contacting me, saying, Mr. Research, you was right. Some of these other things that happen in the feminist spaces has come to true. So I'm going to predict this one. In the next 10 to 15 years, we're not going to have these conversations because people only got 10 summers to get it right. 10 more Julys to get it right. Because the children who are in 6th grade right now, in 15 years, they'll be 22, 23 years old. And they're international. They're playing with Pakistani and Muslim children and Irish and Russian children right now. That's not going to be the crux of their conversation when they get up to the 20s level. Go ahead, Chaos Rain.
Yes. Nicki Minaj and Joe Button. I noticed people are talking about this, letting it go viral as usual. I don't have no feelings for Nicki Minaj, to be personally honest. Because if you look at her track record, besides lyrics, she's good in that area. And she writes her own music, last time I checked. And that's how I look at her and see her as an artist that takes pride in the craft. Now, in regards to other decisions and relationships and all that, it is very much questionable, fickle, or whatever you want to call it, because her past is with men and her own trauma is reflective. So if anybody's taking any advice or thinking this is an A+ or something, when she say things like eat a dick or all this stupidness, is a direct reflection of her trauma and her actions that she refused to resolve, like most Black people. So if people think that this is something special, I look at it, really make the time effort to really examine this. I look at it as nothing really special. It's been expected, and not only is expected, but no one should be surprised, especially from the male space, of any actions of most men that's so-called mansur that's taking place trying to have conversation with celebrities. The only thing celebrities are here meant for is distractions. They're paid well and bought off. And it's going to come to a point now that they listen to these channels that they're trying to set their own pace in the digital space with YouTube. But if you're not content creating, you got your stuff in order and you're not spread out, they could easily run you out of town. Easy, because they got the clout and numbers. So I tell people many times, be very careful of who you're really worshiping, watching. You know, they distraction going. They're here for the nonsense, the effery. So that's what I'll say.
All right, I hear ya. Well, again, if you guys are here, get those likes up. Hit the super chat, Cash App, Venmo. You can find me there. I don't know if any of you guys had any other thoughts or anything you wanted to weigh in before I wrap these things up.
Well, I'll do my final thing and then I'll drop down.
Okay.
It's like I said, man. Pew Research is a bunch of lies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind these women. You keep doing the fight, Shahid. But I think these things will start to go away because it's kind of like the lady who tried to murder Martin Luther King.
Uh-huh.
She died by herself, lonely. And I'm not saying that in a celebratory way. It's just that these people who want to go into other people's lives and tell other people how they should be living, they don't have success stories in their own life. And they end up being more KKK in their actions, in their talking points, in how they come in public spaces than the actual KKK. Right now, we ain't got to worry about too many white folks getting on the mic saying stuff. We got to worry about people with Black faces saying derogatory things about Black folks. And to what end? To what end? 8 years of talking about Black women ain't this. And guess what? One of the leaders of that type of talking point died with no money recently, living with his sister. I'm not saying that to be celebratory. I'm saying, where is the life well lived? Then you got these ladies over here making these comments, but your life is not a success story either. And now that they fighting each other, yes, the divestors, the swirlers, the anti-black females, they're all fighting each other now. So now they're seeking out people like Sade. So to have a kumbaya moment. I saw a lady come over the other day, lifelong lesbian, lifelong anti-black male talker. She falls out with another lady, and now she's over in the black female male identified show. Well, yeah, I don't have a problem with black men. That ain't what she was preaching. So I just think this is all crazy. Keep doing you. That's why I donate to you, Sade. And everybody watching this show, 200 people should kick in, at least 5. So give her some inspiration for better cameras and what have you. I know all you rich people watching. Y'all able to kick in at least $5. Much love. Peace.
I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Like I said, guys, do support your favorite content creators, especially if you like their messages and you want to see people push back against some of the different negativity that's out there just regarding men, the black community, just all of it. If you want to hear an alternative messaging, positive messaging, where we're actually talking about the truth and trying to get to a resolution, then support this show and support your favorite content creators. I have some different things I'd love to do and hoping to see this channel grow with your guys' support. So yeah, good stuff. And I think he made some really interesting points. Mr. Z, Back in Effect, had mentioned this yesterday, where there's some women who are just grasping for straws at this point, and they're just grasping for anything to try to hold on to, because they've essentially figured out, crap, we messed up, So
I'll say this, and I'll dip out also.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, as it relates to men, we're used to the criticism. We either get better or we stay the nugs that we are. So what women are gonna have to do is listen to the criticism that's coming their way and work on getting better. And the thing is that you got to figure out how to not to take it as an insult or a personal attack. You got to look at it as constructive. Is it just attacking you and just calling your names, or is it really pointing out flaws and something that you really need to fix, and something that is going to make you a better person in the long run? And if you just ignore it and go, well, you know what? Well, black men are this. Okay, well, dudes, I'm gonna tell you right now, dudes are not going to argue with you about it. They're just going to walk away. And I'm telling you, the better dudes, not even the better dudes, but the good dudes, those good, solid dudes that are reliable, dependable, hardworking, get up every day and are grinding, and they're not going to get in trouble. They're not going to make a lot of noise. They're not going to, get out here and they're not going to get on YouTube. They're not going to do anything. They're just going to be like, well, I'm just out. And I'm telling you, that's not what we want. And we're seeing a lot of our good folks just kind of, just kind of walk away by the wayside. That's just not good for us as a group.
Yeah, absolutely.
For anybody. Everybody else it's funny because you notice everybody else is together, right? Everybody else is together as a group. Even when, and I don't like to bring white people into stuff, but with the feminist movement and all this other stuff, what do? They complain, whine, smash the patriarchy, and they'll go home to their husband. They'll do all of that stuff. And they'll stay there with that. And it doesn't matter. And it's almost to the point where I'm not saying it doesn't matter how they're treated, but they make noise about it, but still they're still hanging out with their dudes, and they know where the bread is buttered and what needs to happen, and that nothing gets done if both genders aren't working together. So I think he just stepped out, but the guy who made the prediction, it's kind of going to come full circle, and then we might get to the point where we slowly start coming back together. Because remember, the next generation is coming up; it's their turn. I'm not saying we can't be saved. I'm just saying, this group has some work.
Should be them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah. Well, thanks. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Keep doing good things.
Thank you. Thanks for your support.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. So it's like Chaos Rain, Hakeem, what you got?
My closing statements. And I'll say this, keep it short. Let's be honest. These celebrities, especially the female celebrities, their reflection of their outcomes of life is very reflective to the West. There's many predictions how this is going to be affected us in the near future. And like I said, a lot of us, we are not adapting in the times we're in. If you're looking for love and look for relationships, you better be aware that this is going to take a lot of work, and it's going to be challenging in this Western hemisphere / Western culture, and especially America. I think that is the relationships and family is going to be a little bit worse as time progresses, because women don't know what they want, men know what they want as they get older, and I just don't see it really pen well for us. But like I said, only time will tell. Oh, and one other thing, Shari.
Yeah.
I like you kind of put my name in the last video. Appreciate it. Respect.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's it for me.
All right. Well, thanks.
Take care.
Thanks for calling in, stopping by, and have a good one. All right, Hakeem.
Are you trying to take another call?
I'm going back and forth.
Because I see a divester in the private chat there. So, but if you want to handle that yourself, then because I have this I have a petty feeling right now. So
you have a
that's
petty
why I was
feeling.
asking. that petty tickle is tickling me.
So we got 108 watching. You guys let me know. Send in some super chats if you want us to stay on. If not, I will gladly wrap this up and go eat dinner. So you guys let me know in the super chats. But in the meantime, while they're deciding whether or not they want us to stay on, what do you got?
Okay. But anyways, I'll make my closing remarks then. But I'm going to paint a scenario. It's just imagine a train going to the last train station, getting off on the last stop, and they feel the pressure. They being divestors, whomever is operating on the wrong side, they know that they're not truly happy with the outcomes they've been getting so far in their life. So what they want to do is paint a picture that everything is happy, everything is great. But when they show up in the chats and the comment sections, that they're just trolling, seeking attention. And with every sort of last gasp that they may take in trying to reach these measures, they do the best they can just to, again, the attention. If you starve them of the attention, then they keep trolling. They make more comments. So as I'm saying, you're doing a great job. Don't change your message. Keep on the straight and narrow path. Your message is positive. Like I said, you don't resort to tactics that some of them are used to, such as name calling. You keep providing stats, and your message is always clear and concise and to the point. And again, as the channel evolves, and I hope that we keep getting support. I think it's going to keep pushing the message across and moving that needle. But I definitely appreciate all that you do.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you always supporting however you can, whether it's commenting, sharing content, moderating, financial support. I appreciate all of it. So truly, I do.
Much appreciated. I'll continue to do it. But once again, thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure.
All right. Bye.
All right. Well, I do have another one there, but guys, I haven't gotten any support in, so I am kind of tired and I need to eat dinner. Late dinner over here. So what I will say, I'm planning on having a live soon, so please feel free to come in. Then the next topic I think may actually be something you'll find interesting. I was supposed to do anytime. I've had people who've called in multiple times come back. So I do appreciate you hanging out. You are more than welcome to join. I think the next one is going to be our dating apps racist one, when we're looking at basically this whole idea of sexual racism. Y'all know what is this thing. I'm not making this up, but this whole idea that your preferences in dating can be racist. I didn't know it was a thing until I found out. And like I said, it's actually I saw academic report on it. So it's not just some random, just like some random movement happening in the far corners of the internet. It's actually gotten the interest of academia in different places. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. But anyways, I appreciate all of you guys for being here. Again, don't forget to hit the like button before you leave. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you like this content, please show your support. There's no donation that is ever too small. You can find me on Cash App or Venmo. Share super chats. I always appreciate all of the above. Again, if you like content and if you feel like there's not enough good content out there, if you want to see certain messages being challenged, y'all know what I'm about. So if you like what I'm doing, one way you can support me is to help support what we're doing, so I can, hopefully start to get the message out there, get some more support, get some better production eventually. Those are all goals. So anyways, I'll come up next time. Yeah, no, you are always welcome. I always love to hear the different perspective. I've talked to divestors before. I don't know if they identify as divestors, but I've talked to obviously women before. And like I said, I have no smoke for anybody. I don't have smoke for anyone who says that they want to date or marry out in particular. I just think there's just certain ideas going on right there that I don't think are helpful. And I ultimately want to see women win. I want to see women have the results that they want. And that's partially why I focus on, or I will highlight the things that I feel like are impeding our ability to do that, whether that is our mindset, whether that is the way that we see our men, whether that's the way that we see ourselves. And if I think the way we see ourselves have been influenced by lies or influenced by propaganda that we've all heard, it's my duty to address it. You may not like it. You may be offended. You may think I'm everything, but if nothing else, if you can take the truth for what it is, and it can eventually lead to you considering something different, then it's like, if nothing else to me, that's worth it. So, also please, no name calling. We don't do the name calling here, guys. This is not a place for that. Yeah, no, we don't do the name calling. This is not a place for that. So like I said, you guys are always welcome to share your perspective, but we don't do name calling. We don't, there's no need to do that. You can share your perspective. You can share your thoughts. You can share your ideas and still be respectful to the other person. So moderators, if you guys see people ever acting up, do what you got to do. If you got to put the people in the timeout or whatever, you have my respect to do that. So anyways, thank you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And stay tuned. We'll continue the conversation and we'll talk later. Bye.